Hello, planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730.
My BFF Joe 730.
I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffington Post.
I didn't mean to.
So today I'm just going to do something really different. I hadn't really planned on doing this video, but then something just kind of sparked in my head the other day, and I was like, you know, let's talk about Alex Mack, because there are very few shows that predate Buffy that do kind of the same thing. When you think about Buffy and kind of the legacy that was there before it, you can look at a show like Mary Tyler Moore, you can look at a show like Tabitha, you can look at Sabrina the Teenage Witch, although I want to say that was more Buffy's contemporary. It might have come out after Buffy had gained its popularity rather, but you can look at Bewitched, you can look at Wonder Woman, but as far as kind of what really set the stage for Buffy, I feel like The Secret World of Alex Mack was right there before Buffy really hit, and it was doing things that that just weren't really done at the time. It was a young girl with superpowers and how those superpowers affected her personal relationships and her school and home life. It very much was a precursor to Buffy. It really did set the stage, and it made audiences kind of aware of the fact that you could have a young girl with superpowers anchor a show and a story, and you could use fiction in all of its glory with all the sci-fi elements and the angsty, you know, my so-called life elements, and kind of make something that's fun and, you know, palatable. And so I'm gonna do that today. I just want to talk about Alex Mack a little bit. And before I do, one of my viewers on my YouTube channel had asked me about kind of, you know, some tips on like what to do or whatever. And so like right here, like today I don't have any notes for Alex Mack because, you know, it's Alex Mack, which, hey, it's Alex Mack, it's fine. But like for my Buffy and poetry, I took some legit notes, like I made an outline for myself, but for a lot of my notes, like, okay, sure, I've got like legit notes here. Sorry, my new light is making glare problems for me. But for most of them, it's like my notes were, you know, a couple points, but then just talk. And then like a couple points, just talk, you know? And then, you know, for Spike, I had a lot more notes, but, you know, I said just talk. And like, that's really what you need to remind yourself if you are going to be making videos on YouTube. Like, I know I'm not like super successful or anything like that. I don't make money. I don't even have 500 subscribers, but you know, it's like, just talk. If you have an audience and you have a good point, just make it. You don't have to have everything outlined. I told you guys I was really into Dusted. I was like loving Dusted, and then whoop-de-doo, like Lonnie and Alistair like divorced, and that sucks. And so she has been continuing her coverage of Buffy on her channel that you can find on YouTube. It's called Chipperish Media. But when I was listening to her analysis of Gone and Double Meat Palace, I could tell that she was just reading from a script, and you know, there's a space for that. There is a total space for video essay, but if you just want to get on YouTube and talk to people and make it feel like you're having a legit conversation, just make notes, know where your argument and where your point is, but just talk. People don't want to feel like you're just reading from a script. At least I don't. And so, anyway, that's just my advice. If you're looking to make videos for anything, just know what you want to say, and you don't have to have like everything eloquently drawn out. If you have a good point, if you have a good idea, just talk it through. By the time you talk yourself into circles, you might find that you have a new point that you weren't ready for when you know, sat in front of your phone or what the heck ever. So anyway, let's talk about Alex Mack and how she just kind of disappeared from pop culture. Here we go.
Let's tell it like it is and how it could be, how it was and of course how it should be.
In a time of ancient gods, warlords, and kings, a land in turmoil cried out for a hero. Xena, a mighty princess forged in the heat of battle. The power, the passion, the danger. Her courage will change the world.
Alright, so the reason I wanted to talk about Alex Mack today is because I feel like what Alex Mack did for pop culture at the time was really set a new standard for fiction and the way that we think about young girls in particular, and the way that we deal with sci-fi. And you look at Alex Mack and she's kind of like this mix of what Buffy would become and Spider-Man, you know? She's like this 13-year-old girl. She has this chemical GC-161 accident. She gets these friggin' superpowers. She can like zap shit with her fingers, and she can turn into this like gloop, and she can levitate things with her mind. And when she eats spicy food, she has super strength, and she can like burp up bubbles, which is kind of like shitty. And when she blushes, it's like this radioactive yellow-orange, which is shitty. But they do a lot with Alex Mack, and the first 2 seasons, from what I remember, I haven't watched Alex Mack since I was like, I don't even know, 9 years old, because it ended in like 1998. It ran from 1994 to 1998, and so I must have been like 9 years old when Alex Mack went off the air. But it really did inhabit this almost very new space, and it did something for the portrayal of young girls. Like I said, we had Wonder Woman, we have Xena Warrior Princess, we have, you know, Mary Tyler Moore and all this good stuff, and, you know, we had Bewitched, and all that's fine and all that's fun, but it introduced it to very young people. We're talking about a Nickelodeon show, and I don't know how well the show holds up over time, but I'm just really curious as to why Alex Mack hasn't permeated pop culture. I don't know why there aren't, like, Alex Mack comic books today. What they're doing with Buffy right now, with the Buffy the High School Years, which I reviewed the first book of those, Freaks and Geeks, and I gave up, because it's not what I come to Buffy for. It's not Buffy to me. Buffy is about growing and evolving, and it just seems to rehash. Whereas if you take a character like Alex Mack, who, you know, was introduced as a 13-year-old instead of like a 16-year-old, you can tell those kind of high school, junior high school stories with the, you know, sci-fi elements, and you could even introduce some like supernatural stuff into Alex Mack, and it would work. And I really don't understand why Alex Mack doesn't have a show around right now. I don't understand why there aren't comic books. You could make an Alex Mack cartoon series, and it would make all the sense. And so I don't understand where it went. I don't understand. And I haven't done a whole lot of research into the show. I listened to a commentary that Old School Lane does. It was like Comic Uno and the girl who does Old School Lane, and they were talking about Alex Mack and how it really does have its place in time and in the pop culture zeitgeist. But it just kind of disappeared. Now, I don't know if the rights are all like, you know, in flux, or if the creators have some kind of like super hold and chains around the intellectual property that is Alex Mack. But I mean, back in the day, I remember my friend Lee, she had like the Alex Mack novelizations of like the little adventures that weren't in the show but like still existed. And I just don't know where that went. I feel like it's ripe for storytelling, especially, you know, for young girls. You look at like iCarly and Zoe 101 and all these like super stupid shows that they're showing to children now on like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and the Disney Channel, and they are just such fluff. There's no real there anymore, at least not that I can see. And, you know, I'm obviously not the target demo, but, you know, it's so weird that that Alex Mack doesn't exist anymore. And it's just odd. It strikes me as super odd. And another interesting thing is that Alex Mack was originally written to be a boy character, which is why, you know, she's not, like, girly in the beginning. Like, Alex Mack is always wearing a hat, she wears, like, flannel, she's very much not a girly girl when we meet her, and I really like that. The creator, apparently, his father, like, worked for this chemical plant, and his idea was like, oh, what would have happened to me if I were a kid and I, like, came across these chemicals that, you know, turned me into a radioactive Spider-Man, you know? And basically that's what Alex Mack is, and so the fact that they flipped the gender is really interesting, because of course at this point, Clarissa Explains It All had just wrapped, and they didn't want to make a show about a boy. They wanted to kind of replace Clarissa Explains It All with another young girl that, you know, that audience could relate to and jump onto. And so just the idea that they gender swapped Alex and the show really found a boon from that. It's just really fascinating. And like a movie, a cartoon series, like a Netflix show, comic books, you know, short novels. Where is Alex Mack? I don't know why we don't have the secret world of Alex Mack in pop culture today, because it's right there for you, and it has characters that you could completely replace and whatnot. You could rearrange the family dynamics, you could rearrange the genders of different characters. You could do a lot with the show. You could add and subtract and just throw it in a blender, but the essential story of Alex Mack, it's right there. And I mean, you know, you got like Danielle Atron. I don't remember shit about Alex Mack for the most part. I remember her sister Annie, her friend Ray, her parents like worked at the plant. There was like this bumbling idiot who like later like he worked for the chemical plant underneath Danielle Atron, but then like later on he was like helping Alex to like hide her secret. But like Danielle Atron, she was like this shadowy figure in the back, and I'm guessing she was supposed to be like an answer to, you know, X-Files. I mean, Alex Mack came right on like the X-Files sweet spot, and so Danielle Atron was kind of this like shadowy figure in the back, and she was always after Alex Mack, and you know, what is GC-161? What's it for? What's it gonna do? Why does she want to protect it? Why does she want to get Alex? It's all really interesting. I remember her. She was so like compelling and ominous, and you just knew like one day the jig's gonna be up and she's gonna get Alex Mack and they're gonna like square off. And like I don't really remember how the show ended, to tell you the truth, but that's the thing. It could live on today. You could do something with Alex Mack today. You could put her on the CW, you could put her like anywhere, like just put her somewhere. I don't understand where Alex Mack is, and I just feel like the mythology, if you will, and just the overall story is ripe for storytelling possibilities. You could do a lot with Alex Mack, and I just don't understand why she's not around. But I did want to kind of prop the show up and say what you did for pop culture really did lead into the Buffys of our time, and you know, I appreciate that, Nickelodeon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today, you guys. Like I said, I hadn't really planned on doing this, but as soon as I thought of it, I was like, oh yeah, Alex Mack totally like paved the way for Buffy in a small way. Now I realized the movie had already come out, but the popularity of the movie was iffy, to say the least. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you're having a great 2017 so far, everybody. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel reviews. We'll get Angel Season 11, number 4 on the 19th of April. I am going to try and knock out Buffy the Pregnant Barista Robot Season 9 wrap-up video this week. And so stay tuned for that. Have yourself a great day today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Time of ancient gods, warlords, and kings, a land in turmoil cried out for a hero. She was Xena, a mighty princess forged in the heat of battle. The passion, the danger. Her courage will change the world.
Okay. My BFF. Joe? 730.